All right, we are back. What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Of course, your guys, Cody and Derek, back with another one, guys. And hey, we wanted to hear from you. We sent out on all the various social media platforms on X/Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on the community tab, on our YouTube page. Wanted to get your thoughts on all of these different things regarding the Indianapolis Colts. And we asked for your bold takes. Said, don't be shy. Give us your bold takes. And some of you certainly were not shy about giving your thoughts in both a positive and a negative way. And I'm here for all of it, man. So we're going to break it up kind of in a couple different videos because there are a lot of responses. And again, thank you to everybody who did respond and give your thoughts here. But we're going to start here by doing the one that we got probably the most responses on, and that is on X. I would say, Derek, probably X and Instagram were the top two. Instagram might have had a few more. It was pretty close, though, when it came to some of the comments. And so we're going to siphon through the comments here, and there are a couple comments that are pretty similar. So if that is the case, we will shout out the people who did ask the question or did mention a similar topic. But without further ado, Derek, let's start with the first guy here. We're talking, of course, about our guy at Slab Addict 21. He said, bold prediction. We move up in the first and second round and finally spend in free agency and trade for a marquee player. Derek, that sounds like a pipe dream to me. That sounds like a great offseason to start it off. So shout out to Slab Addict for this one. What are your thoughts here on his take for what the Colts will do, in his opinion, and his bold prediction?
I mean, I could definitely see a trade up in the first round. If you don't trade up in the first round, could see a situation where if you try to, I could even see a situation where we trade back and get an extra second rounder and be able to, get some extra pieces to move up in the second round or even back into the first round if that is indeed what we wanted to do with that. So I could see that as happening. You and I said in our bold predictions, we think that, we could trade for a marquee player. It's just, it feels like it's just a little too much because, if you're going to trade for a marquee player, you may potentially not have the ability to trade up in the draft in the first place. So, one has to happen or the other has to happen. It doesn't really feel like you'd be able to do both. And, finally spending in free agency, that's a vague statement. I don't know definitively what that means. Obviously, we're going to incline that we're going to be spending a little bit more money than what we typically do. But, again, as much as Colts fans want Chris Ballard and the Colts to finally start doing some more, and I do believe that they will do some more, let's remember this is Chris Ballard. He will never, ever, ever do it. Even if Jim Irsay said, you either throw everything you have at the door or you're out, Chris Ballard will still not do it. Chris Ballard still won't do it. So, I mean, yeah, that is a bold prediction, sir.
Yeah. And again, I guess when it's talking about, like you said, finally spend in relative comparison to what, right? Like spend in comparison to the rest of the league or to Chris Ballard? I guess that's the biggest question because I don't think he's going to spend in terms of big spenders for the rest of the league. Like, he's not going to go out there and hand out these giant contracts. He's not going to pull a Titans from last offseason, but I think he could spend a little bit more, and I think he has no choice than he did an offseason ago. So, yeah, it kind of depends on your definition of that, but definitely appreciate the prediction. And actually, I had a prediction of one of the two things happening between trading up in the first round or trading for a marquee player, right? I think one of those two things could happen, and I think you're right. Like, it'd be tough to do both of those things and make those happen in one off season. Not saying it's impossible, but it'd be tough, especially with the question marks at the most important position in football, right? It would be difficult, but it's not to say it's impossible because you see teams do it all the time. But for where the Colts are, I don't know if it makes a lot of sense for them to do it. But again, if Ballard's on his last leg, who knows, man? Who knows what's going to happen? All right, let's continue on. We got Jebediah next. He says Jalen Carlisle will be a all-pro as a first-year starter. Whoo, talk about spicy take here. Bold prediction indeed, Jebediah. What are your thoughts on this one, Derek?
Well, I mean, this is to insinuate the idea that Jalen Carlisle even gets to start in the first place. Again, if you were to see Jalen Carlisle get voted as an all pro, Cody, do you know how many interceptions or forced fumbles that would mean he'd have to create in order to do that? That's at least 7 turnovers. At least 7. So we're not only talking about the reincarnation of Darius Leonard here, which again, that's not even going to guarantee that Jalen Carlisle even gets voted in because Cody, let's admit it, people whoever votes for all pro are idiots a lot of times because there's a lot of people that get voted into things like that shouldn't be, or at least shouldn't be over others. The fact that Darius Leonard got second team all pro the year that he forced, I think it was 12 turnovers, is again just shows that people don't actually watch the games. Indy's a small market. Guys like them a lot of them don't get special recognition. And especially a guy like Jalen Carlisle, who 99% of the league has never heard of before. So that is a definite bold take.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Okay, so talking about some other things when it comes to the Colts here. There are definitely a different variety of opinions here and a variety of predictions here. So there are some positive ones, Derek, and then there are some negative ones. And this one is primarily in the negative. So AR5 Renaissance, I know he's not the only one that said something about Ballard, how he's not going to make any free agent splashes. It's going to be more of the same. Status quo is going to be the same. He's going to sign a bunch of no-name guys. And then I had this one as well from Indy RC guy, 6 to 8 wins. Ballard continues to fine-tune his incredible ability to remain mediocre, Derek. So people don't think that the Colts are going to do anything in the offseason. They're going to stay mediocre. They're not going to do anything much when it comes to free agency. And that's kind of be it, right? And then, in fact, another guy, the evangelist, he says 3 wins, and they're going to draft Arch Manning first overall. So there's a lot of different opinions here on some negative things, all from 6 to 8 wins to the Colts aren't going to do anything. All the rookies are going to be busts.
Go back to that first one. Go back to that first one real quick.
First one.
Yeah, the first one you sent me. Okay, so I can get behind the fake competition quarterback stuff. Me truly, I don't think that they're actually going to bring in some actual competition to try and get ahead of Anthony Richardson. I really don't think they are, because if they do, then that's going to result in Ballard getting fired. Remember, Cody, this whole thing is about Ballard not getting fired. That's the ultimate case here. And if you and the ultimate, what I would love to sit here and think is that Jim Irsay has, showed a vote of confidence in the public eye, but in behind closed doors, he sat Chris Ballard down and said, like, this is your last straw. If you don't do anything to improve this team, I will have you on your ass within a matter of a split second. I'd like to think that. I don't know, because, Irsay is a proud guy, and I know he wants to win, but I don't know if he truly understands the magnitude of just how bad another bad season for the Indianapolis Colts could be for fan morale and all these other things. Again, I could see, I don't agree that he won't make any free agent moves. I really don't believe that that's the case. Of course, he's going to gloat about drafting great rookies. He does it every year. So I'm not going to sit here and insinuate that. If we have a 6 to 8 win season, Cody, then everyone on this coaching staff and these executives need to be gone. Everyone needs to be gone. AR needs to be gone. Steichen needs to be gone. Ballard needs to be gone. They all need to be gone. If you only win 6 to 8 games next year, then 100% you need to, they all need to be gone. That's a fact. And they're not bad enough to only win 3 games, Cody. They're not bad enough to only win 3 games. And you're actively trying to tank.
Right. And say, like, you have all these rash of injuries, or I don't know, who knows? There's a lot of different reasons. I mean, we would have said the Colts team back in 2022, although there was definitely a lot of issues, they had more talent than a 4-win football team. I mean, we could say that. But the problem was there was a lot more deep seated issues, right? So, yeah, that's what I would say there when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean, it's almost to this point where if you're going to be bad, just be bad, you know? Like, I'd rather just be really bad and go draft the guy next year than be 6 to 8 wins and still kind of be stuck in limbo, if you will, and be drafting in the 13-14. You know, I would hate that. Again, I would not like to do that. So, yeah, that would definitely not be a great thing there. But, yeah, they got to do stuff, man. They got to absolutely do some stuff here. Now, moving on to some positive things, Derek. There's a few people that are very positive on the outlook of the Colts season. So, one person actually on the other side of things talking about how the land Justin Fields, possibly defensive free agent, trade for Trey Hendrickson, and draft Tyler Warren and Jackson Dart. He said, I'm manifesting this. So, that's not the only Jackson Dart thing we have. We had one more person that talks about Jackson Dart and actually takes it a step further, Derek, and says he will start by week 6.
Dude, if that's true, then Ballard needs to be fired. He really does. Because you staked your entire reputation on Anthony Richardson, and if he gets beat out by Jackson Dart, and Cody, in all honesty, I think Chris Ballard would not let that happen. I think he would pull Shane Steichen aside and say, no matter what you do not ever take Anthony Richardson out again, because it will only create bad issues for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the reason I hate this comment, and I'm not hating the person, I'm hating the comment. You're saying we're going to get Justin Fields in free agency and getting Jackson Dart in the draft? There's no way, dude. You don't do that. You're not overhauling the entire quarterback room. You're not doing that. If you one or the other is fine. Getting Justin Fields in free agency, sure. Getting Jackson Dart in the draft, maybe. But first, for 2 things, Justin Fields, he could actually compete for that spot, and I think it's a potential. He could potentially even do that in the first place and potentially win it. And then on top of it, Jackson Dart, he might be a guy that might get taken in the 3rd round. Are you willing as a Chris Ballard to invest a 3rd round pick in getting a backup quarterback? Really? I mean, are we going to go that far? You know, I don't know if that's a very good move. You know, so like, I love the idea of defensive free agents. I love the idea of Trey Hendrickson, but I'm going to tell you this, guys. If you're going to trade for Trey Hendrickson, you're not getting Tyler Warren in this year's draft. You think the Bengals are just going to give up Trey Hendrickson and not get at least a 1st rounder out of him? Trey Hendrickson led the league in sacks last year. He's worth at least a 1st round draft pick at minimum. Like, you're not going to just get him for a 2nd or 3rd round pick. This guy freaking gets 15 sacks a year. Like, and only a few guys in the NFL do that. So this is insanely bold, because there is just way too much going into this comment.
Well, there's other ones as well about this one. Justin Fields, Tyler Warren, AFC Championship. That was one that I saw. I saw this one, Derek, that I know is going to make you angry. Aaron Rodgers to the Colts, and we're going to win the Super Bowl, and we're going to hang the banner. So very optimistic. Some very optimistic fans here.
Bold on top of bold. Exclamation points, bolded in bold. Holy crap, dude. Dale Staley. Holy cow, dude.
and then you have the tanking.
The tanking.
So it's like one way or another, and then you have back to, AR's the MVP, Colts make the playoffs, all this stuff, win the AFC South.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the problem. So I can see the Indianapolis Colts tanking. I could see it, Cody. But that would have to lead to Jim Irsay being okay with that in the first place, on top of saying, okay, Chris Ballard, after everything you have failed to do, I am going to allow you to sink this team even further just to try again with another quarterback after you failed to do it year in and year out for the last 5 years. There's no way. I just can't see a situation where there is less than a 1% chance that I could see this team tanking. I see why people are talking about it, but it just makes no sense in the grand scheme of the fact that Chris Ballard is trying to save his job, and to think that they're going to just tank just makes no sense in the grand scheme of things.
Well, then you got that, and then you got the complete opposite. It's interesting how, and I don't think either is like out of the realm of possibility, right? I'm not saying the Colts are going to do this. Don't get me wrong. But you know what, Derek? Like, you talk about that, how many games if your defense played halfway decent, or, if Anthony Richardson was just a little bit better, could you have won a couple more games? I mean, honestly, like the NFL game, it's a game of inches, right? And it's a game of, few momentum type of plays that change the game. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, because I don't think it will. I think it's more likely you win 6 to 8 games than winning the division. But with that being said, it's not out of the realm of possibility. And that truly speaks to, nobody truly knows, Derek, what the range of this team is. Like, nobody has any clue. You could go all the way from, this is going to be the worst team in the NFL, to this team could legitimately, if all goes right, they could do something. You just don't know. You have no clue right now. But you're absolutely right. The Colts will not tank on purpose. I promise you that. With all these guys, they're on the line. Like, their livelihood is on the line. So I don't see a scenario there where the Colts do that. But I don't know. I don't know where to go from here, man. But it's going to be interesting. Well, I think there's one more, not related to the Colts, but related to a player that I wholeheartedly agree with. And that is from Hashi versus the World. Josh Downs is the best slot wide receiver in the league. I can get on board with that one, Derek.
I definitely can see it. I don't know if he is right in this moment, but I definitely have a feeling that he definitely could become that.
He's right there.
Yeah, he's getting there. His numbers will back it up.
Yeah. And then we have one last one for a specific player. Latu puts Verse to shame. What a bold prediction. I love it.
I love it too. Yeah, I mean, Verse, I'm pretty sure was defensive rookie of the year, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So, I would hope that he would end up putting him to shame at some point. It's not like these two guys were that far apart, but it does also hurt that, Verse had quite a few more snaps this year than what Latu did. The Indianapolis Colts only played him on 53% defensive snaps. I know he's not great at stopping the run, but there were multiple times he could have been out there, but he didn't. And yeah, it would definitely be nice if this year the Colts defense got a little sense and started playing their young rookie defensive linemen.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I think I got pretty much every single one. I think I got everyone. Yeah, it looks like I did. So with that being said, guys, that'll do it here for our first look here at some of your bold takes. Thank you to everybody who did give your thoughts here, and definitely a wide variety of opinions, which I appreciate. So yeah, guys, be sure, if you haven't already and you're like, oh man, I missed the X one, be sure to go put it on Instagram. Be sure to go put it on our community tab or on Facebook as well. It's all on there for you to go do that. But Let us know your thoughts in the comments below on some of these bold predictions here. But guys, that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. We'll be back with some more bold predictions coming up. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.